Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to walk you through some of the spring plantings we did with our Milos, some of our clovers. We're going to show you the success we've had with planting, maybe some of the things that we want to do different. But we're going to head up to two of our leases and show you how our spring planting went. Okay, now we're on our lease with the food plot from hell, and you can see why we call it that. It's so rocky up here. Anyway, people, again, we talked before about the germination rate of Milo, the date and everything. And you can see here, this is 11 days. This is the day after we were on our other ground. And this is a sugar beet right here, doing really well. This is 11 days. It is, what's today, Wednesday? We drilled this Saturday afternoon and got rain on Sunday. And I think we got some rain Wednesday. But anyway, couple of things I want to point out here. Okay, people talk about no-till and throwing seed on the ground. You look at this pea that's been buried, it's up and growing. Look at these peas are going to die soon because this ground is really hard. It's clay. I can barely scratch the surface. These guys are going to die. Okay, there's so many people that are talking about throw and grow. Here's another one. Look at all these roots. These peas are all going to die because they cannot get into this ground. We've had 2 rains and I can't scratch my finger. You honestly think that root is going to penetrate that ground? If we get any kind of a dry spell, those peas are dead. But the peas that are buried are doing great. Folks, I don't just talk about that, burying the seed to argue or be controversial. I do it because I want you folks to have success. This couldn't be any clearer on burying those seeds. But anyway, so this is 11 days later. Milo's running north and south. Okay, there's a blind right behind me that's going to look right down this alley. We've got Seclusion 360 growing in here. I'm not mowing this rye probably until the end of June, maybe July, because I want it to shade out. I can see little tiny seclusion growing everywhere. Because of the rock in here, we're doing a lot of perennials on this side, but then you go around the corner and it's all sand, so we could probably do more annuals and soil building over there, but it's getting so hard to do any kind of farming here. I've never seen ground like this. I talked to a lot of folks in northeast part of the country, and it sounds like, is it Maine, Massachusetts, they got a lot of ground like this. So, and it's crazy. You go 200 yards to the east and it's fine. And then you go another 300 yards to the west and it's fine. It's just like there's a vein right here that it's just impossible to farm. But anyway, Milo's doing good. It's popping up. Sugar beets are popping. You can see the Milo right here. This is 11 days. Really nice strip of Milo right here. And it's all running north and south, so it's getting great sun. We've been fortunate to catch a couple of rains here. We had a real dry period and I was worried about planting, but we caught some good rain. There's decent soil moisture, but this is really hard clay. I mean, this stuff dries out, it's hard as a rock. Now look at over here. It's doing really well. Peas are doing well. Milo's popping. You know, there's another one sitting pea on top of the ground that's not gonna make it, unfortunately. I have a lower rate of sugar beets in here. I don't see a lot of sugar beets yet. I just saw a couple, but maybe the vacuum cleaners that live over underneath that hinge cut area. Maybe they've been in here eating, but no, so far so good. So what we're gonna do is let this come up. It's July. It's June 18th. We're going to let this grow, and then beginning to mid-July, pending rain, we're going to overseed rutabaga. And then maybe in September early, buckwheat. We might do some annual clovers like crimson. I might add red to this. I don't know. We're gonna do something, but what we want to do is a late season food source, but we want to block this seclusion plot from this seclusion plot and create, you know, a barrier between the two. And then we'll walk over there next. That's all Milo over there because it's a little bit easier ground to plant. 11 days, it's up and growing, looks really good. Okay, so now we're looking at, that's where we were just working with all the rockos over there. This right here is that hinge cut area where the deer were. We're looking to the west. And what we ended up doing here is this tree line is where we stopped the Milo. We ran the Milo east and west and then came north and south with 2 strips to kind of create a wall. We've got a travel corridor that comes out around this tree. This is all Seclusion 360 we planted. It's just such a tough planting area though. It's just pure sand. And we've got it, you can see this ground here. We moved the plot up a little bit, but you can see the dark soil. It's getting better. What we did was drilled Seclusion 360. Let's see back out here. We did Seclusion 360 with buckwheat, oats, you know, just again, we break bags and I just put them in the corner. But you can see the buckwheat's coming good. Oats are popping. There's a little bit of seclusion down in here. You know, we left the rye from last year, but it's just a tough piece of ground to work with, especially if we don't have rain. But so let's walk down here now. You can see, and here's the thing, you can see this is all sand up here, really sparse. It's coming, but not much. Down here, probably a little bit of water gather. Everything's growing well. You can see seclusion's popping, so we're probably gonna have a decent stand here. The travel corridor comes right out there, and then we're gonna have a wall of Milo right here, and then Milo runs this way. But now you come up here, and buckwheat's doing well, oats are doing really well. Now you can start to see the Milo runs this way. We've got 8 feet, or was that 5 foot drill, 10 feet of Milo here on the side of the tree, and then we have Milo that runs this way. But now here we are again back up on sand, and the Milo's growing, and we just dropped nitrogen in that humics that we're trying. Milo looks really good, popping up really nice. Peas are growing. You know, we've got some organic matter coming. This is the 3rd year we've got rye growing in here. Actually, this will be the 3rd year planting. So we've got 2 years, or 4th year? 4th year. This is the 4th year we've actually planted something here. So we've had 3 years of fall forage sandy soil cereal rye. But it's slowly changing the soil. But you can see the winter peas are doing well. Milo's popping. You know, can't talk enough about burying that seed. Here it got buried really well. Okay, because it's sand, we set the depth at 1 inch instead of 2 inches over on the clay. And you saw there was a bunch of peas that didn't get in the ground. But coming along really nice. We've got cooler weather. It's actually almost too cold for June. We're getting some heat next week, but yeah, you just look at all the sand in here. You know, and this is why we don't do brassicas in here. This is why we don't do, you know, the clover blend plus chicory in here. We're going to try seclusion, but I just think those white clovers aren't going to make it. But now we're going to let this go all summer. It's going to probably go to seed. That's fine. That was a new plot we opened up last year, and we're just going to let that go to seed. If it produces rye, that's fine, because that's just going to be our fall annuals in there. It's going to probably be fall forage sandy soil and probably some red clover. But we've got success. 11 days this is growing. We're starting to get some soil heat. You know, I do get concerned about there's nothing growing in this area here. Maybe the drill just didn't gummed up or something. I don't know. But here you can see really nice rows of Milo in here. So we're going to try to add some rutabagas in here. I'm not sure how it's going to work broadcasting on top of this sand. Hopefully there's enough shade with the peas and the Milo where they'll take. I think we probably can get a decent catch in here. You know, this rye is going to produce a good thatch, but you know, those tiny seeds might work in here, but I'm not sure. Big experiment right now, but so far the Milo's looking really good. Okay, so now we're up on a different piece of ground than we did Milo. This is exactly 2 weeks later. We planted it 2 weeks ago this morning. I can see Milo is everywhere. Peas are everywhere. And we got a sugar beet down here. I saw a couple other sugar beets, but we really backed that rate down. The one thing, again, you know what I talked about before, we just did a couple of videos on it. You can see the peas down in here that I just saw a bunch over here. Okay, these didn't somehow get buried. They're all throwing roots. Now we've had 3 rains on this in 2 weeks, and I don't think they're gonna make it. This ground they might, because it's a lot better soil than what we were just on. Let's see, some soybeans. I think we threw some soybeans in here too. But this is 2 weeks. Got our buddy there protecting the field from sandhill cranes. But you can see a lot of green in here. Really nice looking. Well, Milo's about 3 inches tall. But this is 2 weeks old. Dual looks like it's doing a really good job. I don't think I've got enough sugar beets in here So I think what we're gonna do is we've got rain coming this week. This is the week of, what's today, the 21st, 22nd. So usually we're looking at about the first week in July. There's a sugar beet down here, another one right there. But I think the first week in July is when we're looking at dropping the rutabaga. But if we've got rain coming, I think I'm gonna take a chance and drop it this week because I don't have enough sugar beets in here. I wanted the population a little bit higher, so I think next time on this plot, this is, okay, there's another one right there. I'm starting to see some sugar beets, but anyway, that's a big part of the greens in this grain and green combo. So we're gonna get a bunch of rutabaga in here soon, probably about a pound, pound and a half. There's a lot of room in here. But yeah, 2 weeks and this looks really nice. See, really nice bunch of green everywhere. So this is the red clover growing that we planted last fall with our fall forage. And you know, I usually don't have to mow this, but we did try a humic acid that we're working with a company on. And I've not seen, and this whole thing got soaked with that humic acid last year, and I think we did it again this spring. But we're gonna have to mow this clover again. Now we clipped the rye, and we obviously missed a little bit of it, but you look at that clover that's 6-8 inches tall. Basically, we want this to be summer food for the deer, and then we're gonna till it under, and this is where our sweet feast brassica is gonna go in this strip right here. We've got seclusion planted here. We've got the Milo, rutabaga, rye, winter peas, and sugar beets gonna go here. And then we got brassica here. We've got seclusion there. We're gonna have cereal grains back here. Just a big buffet system. We actually might do some fall forage in here yet. But what's amazing to me is they are in here every night eating. I can see, you know, browse everywhere on the stems. But this clover is outgrowing the deer competition, so I'm really encouraged about that. So really anxious to try that humic tea again, or not humic tea. I'm not sure what they called it, but it's kind of like a, you know, it's biology you add to the soil. You know, a lot of people are trying to sell you dried out biology powder. The stuff is actually liquid, and that's what you want. It's not been cooked down and all the goodies cooked out of it, but it's really, really impressive right now. So we had some challenges this year planting, but you know what a lot of people in the Midwest did. Here in Michigan, we had a really cold spell, just didn't seem to want to rain all of May. It got really cold late May, all of June. It finally warmed up at the end of June. We're able to get our HD screen planted. That's going to be our next video. But it looks like, by and large, the Milo Buffet that we've created for the third year in a row now is up and running. And the funny thing is I'm shooting this last little part of the video a couple days after we shot when we were out in the field, and it really got hot. We had 90-degree days here, and those sugar beets that we couldn't see when we first went out there have exploded. So there's sugar beets everywhere. It just needs heat. We're so far behind on temperature up here, but everything needed heat. It's all starting to grow now, and just keep our fingers crossed we get a great crop to hunt over come November. So thank you so much for watching, folks. Thanks for helping the channel grow. If you've got any questions, please reach out to us, northwoodswhitetails.com. You can click on that little icon in the lower left. Text us, reach out to us. Any questions, ask them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Up next week is going to be the HD food plot screen instructional video.